Today, we're diving into a really fascinating, high-stakes business story. It's about a biotech company, Therapeutics, that basically sold the farm to bet everything on one single massive idea. This is a story about going all in. And that really brings us to the core question here. I mean, think about it. What happens when a company gets a product to market and then just sells it? Is that a genius strategic move, or is it the beginning of the end? Well, let's find out. So first up, we've got to understand the company's incredibly bold reset. See, this wasn't just a simple sale, it was a complete and total transformation of who they are and what they do. I mean, just look at this. The change is, well, it's night and day. Before 2024, Seres was a commercial stage company. They had an FDA-approved drug, Vowst, which meant they had revenue coming in. But they also had debt and the huge costs of a sales team. Now, after selling Vowst to Nestlé, the picture's totally different. No revenue, sure, but they're also debt-free and stripped down to a super lean research and development team. So this is the trade-off, and it's absolutely crucial. In the biotech world, the cost of just marketing and selling a drug can be crippling for a smaller company. By giving up their only stream of income, Seres wiped out its debt and got rid of that massive operational weight. And the goal? To pour every single ounce of energy and every dollar into pure, hardcore innovation.
So, with that big strategic shift, we get to the heart of the gamble, the new pipeline that the company is now betting its entire future on. The science here is pretty amazing. It's called microbiome therapy, and to put it simply, it's the idea of using good bacteria, very carefully selected good bacteria, to fight diseases by restoring the body's natural balance. You can almost think of it as a living medicine. And the new star of the show for them is a drug candidate called CER155. Its mission is just incredibly important: to prevent these life-threatening bloodstream infections in one of the most vulnerable patient groups you can imagine, people undergoing stem cell transplants. And, this isn't just some shot in the dark. The FDA has already granted CER155 a breakthrough therapy designation, and that is a big deal. It's a huge signal from regulators that they believe this treatment has serious potential and that it's desperately needed. So this is their roadmap, the step-by-step journey ahead. The next huge milestone is a phase 2 trial that's going to kick off in early 2026. If the data from that looks good, they can then move into the big one, a final, pivotal phase 3 trial. That's the last step before they can potentially file for FDA approval. Okay, so the science is promising, the path is clear, but there is a massive obstacle in their way, and that brings us to the most tense part of this story. They are in a serious race against time. And that biggest obstacle? It really comes down to this number. By late 2025, Seres is projected to have less than $50 million in cash. Now, for a biotech company running incredibly expensive clinical trials, that is not a lot of money. In fact, that cash is expected to run out right around the middle of 2026. The clock is ticking, and it is ticking loudly. They have just enough money to get to that next huge data milestone, but not much farther than that. Which, of course, leads us to the critical multi-million-dollar question: how in the world do they pay for the rest of this journey? Well, they have a few options, and let's be honest, none of them are easy. They could raise more money by selling stock, but that makes existing shares less valuable. They could try to partner up with a bigger company to share the costs and, of course, the future profits, or they could just get bought out entirely. Either way, getting strong data from that 2026 trial is going to be key to getting a good deal. Now, if, and it's a big if, they can solve that funding puzzle, the potential reward is just massive. So let's look at the potential billion-dollar payoff that makes this whole crazy gamble worthwhile.
Just look at the potential here. Right now, the company's valued at around $180 million. But if SER15 succeeds, well, similar companies in this space are valued at over $1 billion. That is the enormous upside that investors are betting on. So the crucial thing to remember is that everything, and I mean everything, hinges on the science working. Strong, positive data from that SER155 trial is the key that could unlock all of this massive potential value. Without it, they're just burning cash. With it, everything changes. So finally, let's bring it all together. It's time to really weigh the incredible risk versus that very real reward. So on one side, you have these major hurdles. The science might not pan out in the big trial, the funding is a huge question mark, and because they sold Vowst, they have zero safety net. But on the other side, you've got some powerful tailwinds.
The FDA has already signaled its interest, the company has no debt bogging it down, and their path to approval is super clear. When you boil it all down, what you're really looking at is a pure-play biotech bet. It's a focused wager on a single, incredibly high-impact idea. It is definitely not for the faint of heart, but, these are the kinds of bets that can completely redefine a field of medicine.
Which leaves us with this final hanging question. In a few years, are we going to look back at Ceres Therapeutics as a brilliant comeback story, or as a cautionary tale of a company that gambled big and lost? Honestly, only time, and of course the data, will tell.